All right, well, we're going to kick off our last thought leadership panel discussion of the morning. And I am pleased to have, four fantastic individuals with me today on the thought leadership table. And so, first thing, I'd love you all to just give your name, your company, and tell us a little, something interesting about you. So, Tiffany, I'm going to ask you to start us off.
Great. I'm Tiffany Kilcrease, and I work for Intercall. We're the world's largest conferencing provider, global conferencing provider, and you probably don't really know our brand name because we sell business to business, so most of you know us as your conferencing platform by your company. But I am the Director of Operational Technology, so I'm responsible for ensuring that we have the right technologies in place to move the business forward. And I've been in my role for 1 year now, but I've been at Intercall for 14 years. And I would say something interesting about me is I started in global operations, and I've been in product and sales and back, full circle back into operations. So.
Good. My name is Victor Verostegui, and I'm with New York Life Insurance Company. We run a direct-to-consumer for the AARP life insurance program. We're the provider. So we're a different part of New York Life than the traditional view. I'm responsible for our contact center that sells life insurance and annuities for the AARP program. I've been doing this for about 9 years, and one of the recent things I think most excited about is our transition from a service organization to really more sales throughout our center. And one interesting fact about me, which very few people know, is I grew up in the flower business. My family's been in the flower business forever, so you'd be surprised I can make a bow, an arrangement when necessary.
I'm Josh Chapman, Vice President of Operations at Cars.com, and interesting fact about me is that I've lived in 4 states in the last 5 years because I've been in the call center industry my whole life, and that's what we do.
Hi, I'm Dave Ditmars. I'm with Call Copy. Call Copy provides workforce optimization and management solutions. We're just announcing this week a new tool to provide key performance management for agents to align the whole organization to meet the organizational goals of customer satisfaction. Interesting thing about me is I like to road bike and I run marathons.
When was the last marathon?
Yes, I do.
Congratulations. All right, so what I'd love to do is, let's kick it off with you, Victor. You talked about transitioning your contact center from service into sales. Does that mean you're also doing some outbound work as well?
Yes, we are. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we were challenged with is, you hear a lot about the effectiveness of outbound, but the ability to quantify that impact over various channels, and we're a direct marketer, so we use various channels to get straight to the customer, but outbound programs tend to impact all of them across the board. So how do you tie back the result of the outbound activity? So we developed a new process working with our marketing partners so that we could clearly articulate not just a one-time test in terms of the value, but also on an ongoing basis. So we do simple thing, we hold out 5% of all our campaigns, and we use that as a control group so that as the environment changes, new strategies change, we always know the value and the impact that we produce. So one program, for example, that we rolled out will generate about $4 million in incremental paid tap across various channels, and that's one out of probably about 10 ideas that we're going to be testing.
Was it a big transition for your agents to suddenly go from being service only into this now more service sales environment?
Absolutely. We'd been in business in our operation for about 16 years, and sales was a bad word. So it was about helping people understand that by engaging customers in a more direct way, in a more personal way, it actually helps them to get coverage that they need. So we spent a lot of time getting them to understand that this isn't about selling product, it's about helping provide solutions for customers that they often don't know that they needed.
And Dave, I'm assuming that some of your technology actually helps aid individuals like Victor in making these transitions occur.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, our solutions are used to enable the agents to respond quickly and to have the information they need at hand to address the issues as the callers are coming on. And in fact, one of your competitors last night's user of Nationwide is a user of our solution.
So let's talk now. You both run your own internal centers, correct?
Yes.
And so when how are your customers now changing? How your agents have to interact with them. How's the customer changing that's impacting you internally?
Well, I think it's a trend. Everybody talks about social and mobile and just how connected customers are, and I think that's been the biggest change I've seen is our agents have to be so prepared for any question. I think for Cars.com, we used to have a very standard set of questions we would get from a customer while they were on our site. Now you're getting it while they're on a lot, car dealer's lot, looking at a car, they're calling up asking questions. So having information on demand is very important to them because they can't possibly know all the answers to the questions that they're going to get.
And Tiffany,
Yeah.
conference call solutions, how is that now changing with, the new demands of the customer?
Well, I'd say that the biggest change for us has been having to adapt to all the different channels of communication, similarly to what Josh is saying. And, they need answers very quickly. And in the conferencing business, when you've got to join a conference call, you need your information at your fingertips right away. So I think one of the challenges that I've had recently is to create ultimate self-service options that provide that to our customers. So from self-service is a big focus, and also in using those new channels like chat, which took off for us. We launched it last year in July, and it just went through the roof. We've had so much response because our customers really need answers immediately.
And so why specifically do you think chat has really helped you get to those customers faster?
Just because it's so accessible for them just to go to our website. I mean, they're probably out there looking for answers already, and being able to very easily click a link and just chat quickly instead of dialing in and using an IVR to, talk to an agent. And the interesting thing is that our agents have found it really wonderful as well. They've really adopted it quickly, where we have sometimes challenges with adoption of technology. Chat is not one of those. So being able to scale our business and grow chat and have enough resource to support it now is the biggest challenge, I think, as it grows.
And so let's talk about how we integrate, these new channels, into our contact centers. So it's not just about, inbound and outbound. It's not just about, adding, chat. What other things have you now had to, what other channels have you had to incorporate?
Well, for us, the biggest thing has been social and getting that feed in, and it's a challenge because when social media, when Facebook and Twitter were really becoming more popular, our marketing team really said, we own social from a branding perspective, but the reality is most of our comments are not about the brand, it's customers or dealers who have questions. So our biggest thing has been integrating that into our normal flow and really looking at it as another contact channel, not as a standalone. It's like email, phone calls, chat. It's just the next extension.
And how are you helping to, with companies do this integration?
We still see inbound and outbound calling as the main channel, but email coming in second, and then chat, and then social media now, I would say it's in the 2 to 5% range for some of our customers. And the idea there is to filter out just to the actionable commentary and mentions that we're seeing in the various monitorings that are happening. So we're bringing that to the dashboard and filtering that into the routine channel of responses.
So what suggestion would you give to an organization who's now having to forecast and integrate these inbound and outbound new channels all together? Any advice?
So I have a lot of passion about this one, and I think you've made a great point in that it's still a very low volume on social media. But I had a great example. I was flying out Sunday night. I sent out a tweet about the airline I was on. They responded to my tweet within 5 minutes, pretty much just thanking me. I sent an email at the same time to the airline asking the same question. I took 2 days to get a response to my email, and they directed me to a toll-free number to get the answer. So I think we have to be very careful. It's a small part of the business, and we're driving customer behavior to social media because we respond so quickly. And there's that brand marketing component to it. But I would advise anyone, before you overcommit to investing in how you manage your social media, look at the rest of your contact center, how you respond to phone calls and emails, because the majority of social media starts there where your process breaks.
Any insight you want to give on that, Victor?
No, one of the fortunate things in our business is that we deal with AERP customers who are typically an older demographic, so we've had an opportunity, it's kind of good and bad. We've been able to see this mature knowing that there's just not a lot of usage, but we know it's coming. So we're kind of letting it mature a little bit, and we're developing our strategy now for the same reason. We know the 50-plus community is going to start using it more and more. Our average customer is actually, in the 65 range, so we've had some time to let things settle down a little bit, and then we're aggressively developing our strategy now.
Are you seeing the same thing, Tiffany?
Yeah, we have a very similar strategy. I got really excited when I started my role in making sure we had a response to social, and then realized really quickly that, being that we're business to business, our brand name isn't out there as much as other businesses would be. So we really thought about, okay, we do have to plan for this. We have to have a strategy for social, and our marketing team has kind of taken off with that and putting our brand out there more effectively, and us responding to that. So we still have a lot of planning to do around it, but it's important to have that strategy in place for when it becomes, really important to the business.
So
can I add one comment? One of the
absolutely.
things that we have seen, because we get a few social media comments that oftentimes we don't need to respond. There are plenty of followers who will respond, so it doesn't
Great
have
point.
to come from New York Life to say, oh, that was a bad experience. A lot of times customers will come in and say, well, that's an unusual experience because I've had nothing but great success, and they'll correct the customer in some cases. So a lot of times we choose to, let's just see
It's
what happens.
self-service, as
Right.
So as my last question, I want to hinge on something you said, Josh, in that, you got a better response coming out of social than you did through a traditional channel. So are we now teaching our customers bad behavior? Are we teaching them that they can get an inconsistent experience and that they should circumvent our traditional channels in order to get a better answer or a quicker response?
I totally believe that, and it's a little scary because you're driving that behavior, and social, again, it's out there, everyone's going to see it, so you're now inviting folks to do that. I as a consumer, I do it myself. I'll give somebody a chance, I'll send an email if I have a problem, and then I'm hitting Twitter within a couple of hours if I haven't gotten a response. So I think we have to be very mindful of that we're responding so quickly, and the responses are generally better through the social channels right now. So we're driving more customers to go that route, and I don't know that we want that. I think we have an opportunity to, again, look at some of the traditional channels, make sure we're doing the right things there before going too far down that social media path in terms of resources and how you're staffing it.
Any additional insight that you want to put it?
Well, I think it's a scary prospect, right? Luckily, it's something we're not having to challenge now, but really getting insight from people that are, interacting with the social world at the moment is really going to help us to build a strategy to respond to it. But it's definitely something to be thinking about.
Do we have any minutes left? All right, so in the no minutes that we have left, I'm just going to ask you all very quickly, what's the one investment that you would recommend, that the community, look at, for the upcoming year, whether it's on your wish list or, what are you suggesting that people really focus on for 2014?
So one of the things that I think are important is some kind of analytics tool. So we use speech analytics, and it's not just about getting the tool, but it's about understanding how to use it to get the information out, because I think a lot of times you'll buy it and it'll take you years to figure out how to really use it. So I think you got to partner with somebody who'll not only sell it to you, but will put it to use.
I would have to concur with that, and if you're looking for the wow factor to get that extra bump in customer satisfaction, I think be able to respond to consumers in the channel that they're most comfortable with.
Right.
So Gen X, texting. When I got off the plane in Seattle here, people were texting like mad, and if you can respond in near real time, I know it's a big challenge, but that's the wow factor for the certain segments of the market.
Yeah, I would agree. I think analytics, collecting customer feedback is huge. And the only thing I would say, we just went through where we launched speech analytics, and we just engaged with a new partner to collect customer feedback. There's been some comments about, will the speech analytics at some point replace that? I don't believe it does. I think the two are most effective when they're hand in hand. So I think if you hear that, or if you're looking at what your options are, the more customer feedback you can get, the better, as long as you're doing something with it.
I would say mobility is something that we're all looking at, and getting more effective use out of the mobile apps that we have. Today we have a lot of apps that help support our customers,
Right.
but we don't have a lot of self-service options built into our mobility app. So I think really focusing in on that and being able to provide, and gather information from the customer in order to service them quickly is going to, take us a long way.
Absolutely comes right back to that
Yeah.
analytics piece. So I want to thank you all very much for your thought leadership today, and enjoy the rest of the conference, and we really appreciate your times.
Thank you.